So, hi, pleasure to meet you, first
Nice
of
to
all.
meet you.
The first thing that comes in my mind whenever there's a movie like this that's dealing with such well-documented, well-known, well-researched history that people spend their lives chasing after, and a figure like Lincoln that we learn about in school, you always wonder, well, what's new here? What are we going to learn that we haven't learned before? What's going to be different about this take on this period than what's been made, in cinema? So what would you tell audiences thinking about coming to see this about what's new with Spielberg's Lincoln?
I think you learn everything. I think you learn everything. I think unless you are a great scholar of Lincoln, you probably don't know the detail of this. And to look at it, and Tony Kushner, who wrote the screenplay, used a lot of the actual transcripts of the argument that's going on. But I think there's very little real understanding of what the relationship he had with his wife, for instance, was, and how important that was to who he was in the world. If there had not been a Mary Todd, there would not have been an Abraham Lincoln. And even though we only see a 3-month period of their lives together, I think even in that time you see how powerful she was, and how intelligent she was, how colorful she was, how emotional she was, how she was a side of him that he couldn't be, that they were two coins that came together that were two sides of that coin that became Abraham Lincoln. Without Mary, he wouldn't have existed. And she was his counsel. She was his closest advisor all of his life. She taught him because she was politically savvy. She came from a powerful political family in the South. She was well educated, tremendously well educated for a female.
Respected by other men in Lincoln's life and cabinet and around.
She was hated by them because she was so smart.
I was using a kinder word.
She would not go away and shut up. They despised her. She was the first lady. The phrase was coined on her, and it was not done out of affection. She was also grandiose. She was also problematic. She was also angry and feisty, and he relied on that. He relied on her showing a lot of colors that he couldn't show, that he wouldn't show, that would have been impolitique for him to show. And she faced tragedy not well. She had a lot of tragedy in her life, as did he. But she never quit being his greatest supporter, and he never quit leaning on her. There were times when he couldn't lean on her because she collapsed. When she lost her son, Willie, she collapsed, and he was afraid he would lose her, and she could hardly get out of bed and function. And I think some of it you see in the film, how they talk about her, how's she doing, and Robert, her son, accusing him of being frightened of her. He was frightened to lose her because she was so emotional and had an edge that he thought she walked on, and he walked on an edge. He was depressive, and the two of them had that, they recognized kindred spirits in each other early on, and they had a deep and dedicated relationship with each other.
A complementary relationship, one could say, too.